here with Math Fun Games. Today we're playing PanzerLeader. We're on situation 4, Sun Low, and we are on turn 12. And it looks like the Americans are going to win heavily here. So first thing, we have the Americans' indirect fire phase. I do not have indirect fire. Next, the direct fire phase. And there's going to be a lot of it. And every target is an armored target in a village. And armor against armor is, yeah. So right here we have 19 times 2 is 38. 38 to 8. Guess what? 4 eliminated. Over here, we're going to we have 14. We're going to use, how much do we have in there? We have 12. 14, 11, 12. 28 to 12. 2 to 1 plus 1, I can live with that. 2 to 1, 4, that's the dispersed libbies. 2. Which one fired? That one fired. And over here, we're going to have a 2 to 1, 22 to 8. Ooh, 22 to 8. And if I add the 2 rifle units, that's 24 to 8. That'll be a 3 to 1 plus 1, thank you. Oh, yeah, blah, 6. 3 to 1 plus 1 is 7. No effect. Oh, man, that's bad shooting. So I marked them fired, and I marked the other guy fired, and I marked that guy as having fired. Okay. Yes, we got these mortars here who don't have a target. I think that's, oh wait, over here. No, those are my own units. I'm not going to fire on those. Okay, what do we have down here? Oh, down here on Caberge or Caberge, I don't know. All right, so it's going to be 11 is 22 to 4. 22 to 4, and I roll the dice. That's 4 to 1, and again another 6. So they're just dispersed, but that's okay. They can't cause any damage at least now. And that unit is marked as fired. I'll check the unit because it's, I mean, that is the rule. If you're firing in a town, any units defending in a town are treated as armor units for purpose of defense, and armor against armor is doubled at close range. So, okay, looking for towns, direct fire. Number. One attacking unit, not moving the fay. I'll take a direct line of fire, combination of units. Okay, I'm just looking up. I want to make sure that, let's see, towns. Weapons effectiveness. Make a direct fire against units in a mixed stack. Okay, we know that. Units in town hexes are considered as armored targets whether or not such units actually are armored. Units stacked together in town hexes must be attacked as one combined strength. That's the rule. That is the rule. And the Americans have so much armor units that they can just, and these infantry units staying in cities. Actually, oh, I made a mistake here. And the mistake I made was these units right here. Those infantry units, and this, I'm going to have to do that over because those infantry units aren't considered armored targets. All right. But I do have the dice roll, so I'm just going to go back to the original dice roll. So here we have 19 to 8. Nope, 19 to 12. So that's a 1-to-1 with a 1. So that unit was 1, and that was right here. So that, yeah, it was 19-8, 2-to-1 with the 1. So that was eliminated. The second roll was a 3, and we had 11 and 14 is 20. No, I couldn't even fire with that alone. It was dispersed previously. Oh, so that's going to be 14 to 12, and that is just a dispersal for those two. But there's no two. So those 3 attacks I had one here, and one here. All right, I'm gonna go on. I think there may have been more mistakes, but alrighty. So it wouldn't have made much difference anyway. So those 6s anyway. So okay. Any more fire attacks? I do not have more fire attacks. Now, but I do have movement. Okay, so this unit can go over here. This unit can take the bridge. These units can move forward in the city. I have to leave 2 units behind over here because those fired this turn. They fired last turn. I want to remove their dispersed and remove their fired. Yeah. They fired last turn. They didn't fire this turn. All right, so those 2 units are in that hexagon. I already got 4 units over there. I already have 4 units over there. Okay, so these units don't have any place to go, basically. So, and this mortar, I'm just moving up, moving on up. And I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. So now we're going to go into the German phase. See, I'm about to unload that mortar right there. I got to make sure I can defend. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to go to the German half of turn 12. And I'm going to flip the marker. Flip. And now it's the German half. So I'm going to pause for a second while I clean up the board. Clean up markers on your side. We're going to have 3 hexes or bridge hexes, and bridge hexes are not armored targets. So the armor doesn't get double attack rate at those 3 hexes. All right, so the Germans, do they have indirect fire? No, because this mortar, unfortunately, is still in the back of the truck. Do they have direct fire? Well, I got 3 and 3 is 6. I could attack that. Thing is, I want to be careful. I'm going to move the truck into this square so I can use a mortar next turn. But I want to be careful. Okay, these guys I can have it do an attack here. So 3, I got 3 of 3. That'll be a 1-to-1, and that'll be a 1-to-1. And 1-to-1. Oh, no effect. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. All right, now this truck's going to take this mortar unit into the center of a town. All right, there you go. I believe that's it for the German phase. So we're going to be going on to turn 13. Now, the only concern I have for the Americans winning is that this game ends after the 15th turn, and the Americans have to completely capture this town on the west side of the river. So let me quickly clear up the German markers here. And remove the quick march. And remove the dispersed. And also over here, remove dispersed. And down here in the little town down here, disperse from everybody. Make sure it removed it. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're in America, turn 13. I don't have, well, I do have indirect fire, don't I? I have, well, it has to be called the turn ahead of time. I have 2 mortars there and a mortar in a truck over there. I'd have to call it ahead of time. Or I can just use direct fire against these guys. 6, and I can, yeah, I can get a 9. I can use that as direct fire. So I'm just going to use that as direct fire. Okay. Makes my life a little bit easier. Okay, over here, bad news. All right, well, not really, because now they're not armored targets. So we'll have 19, 12. Again, we have a 1-to-1. And now the infantry, actually, because they're going against infantry, they'll be full power. So I can get 23-12. But the half track is armored. But it's to its benefit to defend as infantry. So that's going to be infantry, 12 infantry points. And you have 14, you have 19. 19 and 4 is 23. So you're just short of a 2-to-1 attack. However, if I have one of these rifle units fire, it does become a 2-to-1 attack. So it's a 2-to-1 straight up. Okay. Because I'll make it 20, actually I'll make it 25-12, which is 25-12 is 2-to-1. And the reason this is not considered armored is because it's half armored because of the half track, half infantry because of the rifle, and when you have half and half, you judge in favor of the defender. So in this case that makes that infantry, and that makes it just straight up 2-to-1. And 6, 2-to-1, and I roll a 6, which is no effect. So the Americans, this might not be such an easy time. I think they're going to win, but they have 3 turns to get this done. All right, so right here, what do we got? What, 27-8. If I don't use that rifle platoon, which I don't think I'm going to, it becomes 25-8. It's a straight up 3-to-1. About time we did something. And 3-to-1, I roll a 2. That unit is destroyed. And those 2 tanks have, oh wait, they're actually half firepower. Tanks are half firepower because I'm firing at a bridge, I'm not firing at a city. So they're actually half firepower. They're at infantry. So the actual combat arts would be 7 and 5.5. So that'd be 12. I'm not sure what I had there. Let me see if I kept record of it. No. So anyways, let's mark that fired. All right, and I gotta slow down. All right. So that's going to be 12-8. That's actually going to be a 1-to-1. That's not an elimination. 2 is just a dispersal. So there's actually a rifle unit still. So they survived. I'm getting the hang of this. I'm getting the hang of it. Getting the hang of it. Alrighty. They're just dispersed. Well, you know. Okay. Over here, we got this. And I can just do a massive close assault over here, which is what I will do. And let's go down to this town down here. Caberge, or whatever it's called, and I got a 11 to a mortar and a howitzer and a truck. So 11-4, that's 2-to-1 with the +1 modifier, and still no effect. I still roll a 6 down there. So the Germans are holding on, and I'm starting to sweat the Americans winning this. All right, okay, that's it. Now we do movement phase. Move them closer. Truck I don't need for anything. Massive close assault over there. I can move these two rifle units over there. Which then means I can move that unit into the town. Which means, oh, I can't move. Then I want to load that on a truck. I should have did that last turn, but load them on a truck. Take this armor. They're no longer dispersed, by the way. Move it right there. So I can go 1/2, 1/2, 1.5, 1.5, and 2. Excellent. I don't think I have any more tanks at the town square there. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So these guys can move there, and if I quick march them, I can get them there. Right. Did only one of these fire? So I think both of them fire. So I am going to quick march. Well, that's 1/2. And that's 1. I want to go around here, though. That's 1, and that'll be 2. I got to roll to see if they're dispersed because they quick marched. They are unfortunately dispersed. Then we're going to quick march these guys there. And I got to check to see if they're dispersed after quick marching, and they are dispersed after quick marching. I tell you, they're having the Americans are having a time here. Quick march and dispersed. Because if they weren't dispersed, I'd be able to attack that mortar right now. How many units I have there? I only have 3. I can bring in 1 more unit. So I go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can go 1, 2, 1, 2.5. I can get another unit over there. Check to see if they're dispersed. And they are dispersed. Wow. Okay. Really bad rolls. Oh, actually, I can't do that. The machine gun units can't quick march, so they'll have to stop right there. All right. Let's see. These units can go here. These units are on the bridge, so I'm just going to say they're going to leave the bridge hex. It's starting to be a little back up here, but that's okay. There's 2 here. I'm just going to move them down there. All right, I think that's it for the 5. Now, here we have 8. We have 14 to 8. So I just want to fire these off. And that's going to give me a 1-to-1 plus 1. So at least I disperse these units. So now I want to attack over here. What do we got? We got 6. So close assault, 1-to-1. And they are dispersed again. And I don't think I can. Wait a minute here. I rolled a 1. I got a 2. They are actually eliminated because it's that big double D. It says that if you're dispersed and you're dispersed again, you're out of there. All right, so I got 12 over here. So I got 2, 4. I can do a 4 to with the -2. I can do a 4 to 12. I can go do a 1 to 3 with a -2 modifier. So 1 to 3, I rolled a 2, no effect. I think That's it. Okay, that is it for close assault. So now we go on to German turn 13. Yep. Why do I keep doing that? I want the turn track. There's the turn track. Dip it. All right. All right, so the German don't have any indirect fire. Oh, no, they don't have any indirect fire. Direct fire. I got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I got 19 to 9. First, let me clean up the American markers. Okay, so now it's the Germans' turn. We have direct fire over here against the tank. We have 15 and 4. We have a 2-to-1 straight up. And 2-to-1 with the 2. Wow. So that is a dispersal. Nice shooting. So this is actually going to end up being close. So let's see what we got here. So I got 15. I can pick one particular target out. So I want to do a 15 and 9. Yeah, I'm going to do a 15 to 9. Or I can do 15 to one of these infantry units and get a 2-to-1. 2-to-1 plus 1. Can't fire at anybody on a bridge yet. Alright, I'm just going to try to do damage to this track right here. So it's going to be a 1-to-1. Hopefully I'll disperse it. 1-to-1 plus 1. No effect. So that mortar fired. That's frustrating. How about over here? Do I have anything over here? No. And they're dispersed. There's not much I can do. So now the movement phase. Once again, there's not much that the Germans can move. Except for this guy. 1, 2. And I need to blow this truck away. So I'm going to use opportunity 5. Oh, 1, 2. It has to move 6 hexes. 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can fire at it. And that'll be 11 and 1. Boom. Well, let's see. We're all 6. Yeah, that truck is gone. I did that because it was trying to head down to that town over there. I didn't want to see it do it, so sent to destroyed screen, and that particular unit is marked with an opportunity fire marker. Boom and boom. Alrighty. How about these? Let's see. Half draft can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I want the half track. I want to defend this city over here. I want to defend this city. I don't have many units to do it as the Germans. I mean, they're running out of units. I need one really strong defensive hex. I don't know if it's going to be this one or not, but if I can split the, anytime I can split the American fire up, it's a good thing, right? Okay. And that's it for the German movement phase. That's it for turn 13. So next, we're going to be going into turn 15. And I'm going to pause while I clean up the board a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go turn 14. Indirect fire, none. I'm not even worried about that right now. Direct fire, I kind of do have that right here. But let's see where I want to do direct fire first. So if I can take this city down here, that KUHN, then what I do is then I don't have to capture the big city in the west side of the river. Provided, of course, I can capture this little city called Converge, or what's called. So I'd like to send a tank and just take that city. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I also, so this, I'm going to send a light tank. 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's one city. Now all I have to do is take this Cavarage, or whatever this town is called, however that's pronounced, and hold those to the end of the game, and I would have won because I would have captured everything in Sanlo that's east of the river and the 2 supporting towns. Okay, but meanwhile, let's try get everything on the the west side of the river. So I have these 2 vehicles. They're both tanks. They're firing armor. So that is going to be doubled. That's going to be 38 to 10. It's going to be a 3-to-1 plus 1. Yeah. 3-to-1, I rolled a 4. That's the dispersal. So the Germans are hanging on. I have to say that for them. They're hanging on. And that is moved. That fired. And that unit fired. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I can fire into that hex. The range of 3. So that would be 28. That'd be 30 to 8. 30 to 8. And if I take 2 infantry units, they'll make a 4-to-1. So that's going to fire. That's going to fire to give me 2. And that's half range. So that's going to be 28 plus 2 that's up to 30. And then that M5, that's greater than half range. What's greater than half range? So it's 5. I didn't even need that infantry unit. Because it's not halved, it's just not doubled. So remove the fired marker from them. So that will give me 28, 5, 20, yeah, 32 to 8. That's a 4-to-1 plus 1. And that unit is eliminated. That's some good shooting there. And the only target I left is this one. And the units I have are better off at closest. Oh, I can, this unit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 1-to-1 plus 1 if I want to use that tank. Yeah, so I get 5. And these are firing against army units, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 2-to-1 plus 1. Yeah, why not? 2-to-1 plus 1. 6, no effect. Yeah, that's about the only way the Germans can win now, and this the way this game is going. All right, and the last I can't work on coverage because I'm dispersed. So now movement phase. Moving on in for massive close assault. So these guys aren't going to quick march this turn, so I'm going to eliminate the quick march because I'm not going to quick march this turn anyways. And that's not going to be able to fire because of opportunity fire. We go over here. Okay, yeah, I can go onto the bridges. Boom. 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 2 units here that can go onto the bridges. One. That's going to be one massive close assault against that mortar and that infantry. Move these units forward. How many units do I have here? Yeah, I'm just moving forward. Just move forward right there. And these units, these 2 units go right here. And this truck is going to take this armor. 1, 2, 3. So that's 1.5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I know where I want to go. Let's take a little trip. 1, 2, 3. All right, but if I do that, I have a howitzer can fire. Howitzer can fire 19 to 9. So I'm going to drive right into here. No, I'm going to town, have a +1. And then I can, okay, so is that 7? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's good. So I can do that. The reason the howitzer didn't fire because the howitzer needs to fire, the mortar needs to fire in unity with the howitzer in order to get 2 to 1 on that tank unit. All right. So meanwhile, close assault, and it's a big one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 to 10. So it's going to be a 2 to 1 -1. Now they're attacking armored targets. And I think for close assault, I'm just going to take a look at the close assault rules. Fire, air power, situation, optional rules. Will not make normal attacks. If you are transported by a vehicular unit, you cannot do a cat attacks. However, moving cat are allowed. Subtract 2 from the dice roll result. And then there's engineer units, machine gun rule. Okay, so there's no rule that says, so units and towns are doubled. Well, units and towns are armed. All right. There's no rule that's saying close assaulting units cannot be halved for being infantry going against armor. So that means over here on this close assault against this unit, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have a 1 to 1 with a -1. So that remains dispersed. It's not double dispersed, is it? 3, 1 to 1. No. So it remains dispersed. That had no effect. Alrighty. And I believe that's it for the Americans. Now I'm going to do a little cleanup here. Right, so we're about to go into German turn 14. My axe, well, axe is German, same thing. All right. So no indirect fire. And the Germans are up Poop Creek. We're at Paddle because those units are dispersed. They're not going to be able to do anything, and they're going to be eliminated by a massive attack next turn. Okay, but over here, I can do a 2-to-1 against the tank. See, I should have actually attacked that truck. So that would have been 4-to-1. Now it's 2-to-1. So I could have attacked with the howitzer and got a 4-to-1 odds against the truck. And then this turn, I still would have had a 1-to-1 against them. I said I was going to do a 2-to-1, so I'm going to do the 2-to-1 right here. So that's why I kept the howitzer back. So it's 2-to-1 straight up. And I rolled a 3. That's just the dispersal. So now that armored unit is going to pound that German square next turn. And the truck is going to be able, well, I don't know if the truck can actually capture hexes, so that's the thing. All right. And the only 2 other German units remaining are this one, the half track, and this one. Question is, do I move the half track into this hex? If I move the half track into this hex, that'll be primarily, that'll become 12, 14. No, they'll move, yeah, they'll move it up from 14, from 10 to 14. Give me a better chance to survive here, but over here, the Allies will just walk right in. I want to keep that half track there because it's also slowing down a close assault. Now, the question is, with the half track, do I want to fire? I only have 2 firepower. I can do a 1-to-3 straight up. 1 to against the machine gun. 1-to-2 straight up. No effect. So that fired. All right, so that's the end of the German turn. I'm going to remove the dispersal here. I'm going to be going on to the last turn. They fired. I can remove that indirect fire marker. So, in order to win, the Americans either have to capture this square or this square and this square. That's really the bottom line. So we're going to be going on to the final turn, turn 15. Alrighty, so now the Americans have to plan our attack and how we're going to finish off the Germans. Alright. And according to the official rules, half hexes at the ends of the board are in play. First, we have the direct fire phase. So over here, how much direct fire can I mount? Quite a bit. So 14 plus 11, 25. 35, 45, 55, 63, 63 against that. It's going to be a 4-1 plus 1, and that eliminates these units. Delete. And that pretty much wins the game for the Americans. Delete. And I mark them with fired. Fired. Oops. Right click fired, and right here, right click fired. All right, well, that's half of it. Now I have to basically capture that half track. Fire on the half track when I just want to do a close assault. Well, I have fire. I can fire on the half track right here. That's the only unit, unless I want to have the infantry fire at the half track. So that's going to be 5 to 4. But if I use 3 of these, that's going to be a 2-1. That's what I'm going to do. They're going to fire. They're going to fire. And machine gun's going to fire. So that'll give me a 2-1 plus 1. 2-1 plus 1. And this one is 4. That they are dispersed. Now here's the key roll right down here. Down here. So we got 4 as an armored target though. So I got 18 to 4. I got 4-1. It's going to be 4-1 plus 1. And that eliminates these units. Delete. Now, one question I have is, I'm not going to be able to move a combat unit into that hex because the armored, anti-armored fired. I do have a truck that can move into that hex unless I can pull an armor from someplace else and get an armored unit in that, because the armoreds are combat units obviously, but I think all my armored have fired. Yeah, that armor did fire. These 2 armor fired. So the question is, can trucks be used to control objectives? I don't know. Don't think they can, actually. I think it has to be combat units. Let's see. One friendly unit occupies, or is last a bridge. Bridge side controls a bridge hex. Yep, no, a truck cannot control a town. So I have, so now the Americans have to defeat this half track. But the problem is I can't get a unit in there. So I think the Americans, I don't think you can advance after a close assault. So let me check and see if you can advance after a close assault. Same hex. Right. And I don't think. Right now I'm looking up. Okay, so I just looked up the rule. I just want to make sure of something. I want to confirm that if you close assault and you eliminate a unit, you close assault and you eliminate a unit, you can advance into that hex. And that's the read I'm getting. I have the PanzerLeader rulebook, and that's the read I'm doing. So I'm going to do movement now, but the thing is, this game's already lost. This game is already lost because I'm not going to be able to send, even if I destroy that unit in close assault, I'm not going to be able to send a unit in there to control it. So the Germans have eked out a victory. One. All right. And I'm going to move a rifle unit right there. One of these is going to move there. Going to come across the bridge over here. Right there. How many units do I have there now? I got 1, 2, 3. Unless I can get this unit. Let's just concentrate on this close assault. There may be a way for the American side to win. And this unit's going to do quick time to right there. I gotta roll to see if it's dispersed. It is not dispersed. That's good. I keep forgetting. Machine gun units cannot quick time. Machine gun units cannot quick time. Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can get that tank over there into Converge. So it has a movement rate of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can, and that means the Americans have won. Unless the Americans have won because they control all the towns, hexes in the east over here of Saint-Lô, and they also got the 2 outlying villages. Because I was able to take a tank and move it down there. So otherwise the Germans would have won because the Americans didn't control the 2 towns on the west side of the river, and well, one on the west, one on the east, and the Americans didn't control the Saint-Lô west of the river. But Americans now control the 2 towns, so the Americans eked out a narrow victory. And that was the only way they could win because they're not going to control the towns east of the river here. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the final close assault. 1, 2, 3. Check for dispersal. That's dispersed. And that's not. So one of these, they both quick marched. One of these is dispersed, and the top one just quick marched. All right, I'm trying to get as many units as I can into that close assault. There's a truck, mortars. Here. Okay, so I get a couple units here. I can try to get there. 1, 2, 3. So I can put 1. Yep. 1, 2, 3. So those are both going to do quick march. I have to see if either of them are dispersed. Not dispersed, not dispersed. Good. All right. So that's quick march. All right. So even if I destroy this half track, which in all likelihood I'm going to, the Americans only won because they were able to control the 2 outlying towns. So it is going to be a victory, but it's going to be a very narrow. Or is it Saint-Lô? I don't think it's Saint-Lô. Oh, shoot. All right. So over here it says the allied player wins by fulfilling one of the following conditions. Control all its hexes and granite cells, which I'm not going to be able to do. Or control all town hexes and granite cells that are east of the stream. I did that. And control all town hexes in the towns of Caen, Saint-Bleu, and Caverge. I cannot pronounce those. And this town of Saint-Bleu, I am not going to control, so the Germans are actually going to win this game, but just barely. If I had a tank and I sent it down to Saint-Bleu, or if I had one turn left where I can occupy this hex right here, I could have won. But I'm going to do the last close assault over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 total units, so that's going to be a 14 to 4. So it's going to be a 3 to 1 plus 1. And I rolled a 3, 3 to 1 with a 4, and they're dispersed. Was that a DD dispersed, though? 3 to 1 with a 4. Yes, that is a DD dispersed. So that unit is sent to the destroyed screen, and the Americans have lost. Again, the victory conditions were because after a close assault, there's no more movement for the Americans. And there's not another American turn, so they cannot move into this town. This town will technically remain German control at the end of the game. That hex right there. The alternative was control everything east of the stream, which they do, and control the 3 outlying towns. Caverge, Kun, and that town, Saint-Bleu. Saint-Bleu, I can't pronounce French names. This town right here, but they don't control this town right here, so the Americans did not meet their victory conditions, and we do not need to do the German turn. All right, that's it for this game. I made some mistakes. I think I am learning, though. I thought this was a sure runaway win for the Americans. I think the Americans got a lot of really bad dice rolls toward the end. And the Germans held out, just barely, but it was a good game, actually. Now, next time we're going to have Situation 5, Operation Goodwood. It's only 10 turns long. The Americans have to control the center board. You now have rockets. Americans have rockets. Americans have long-range howitzers. They have a lot of cool tools. They have 8 rocket-armed Typhoons to attack. So in the next scenario, there's going to be a lot of cool weapons in play. A lot of long-range howitzer fire. A lot of tanks running around the battlefield with a whole bunch of armored cars. So it's going to be glorious chaos, basically. And I want to thank everybody for following along. And if you're watching this, please give me a like, because I really appreciate it. And subscribe too, please, because I really appreciate that too. And feel free to comment. I do love it when people comment. I just want to thank everybody and have a good day. Bye-bye.